We started about 3 months ago a presidential campaign believing that we must bring the promise of America to all Americans. The idea is that no matter who you are, who you love, where you're from, what your parents did, your hard work should mean you do better for yourself and dream bigger for your kids. It was a promise I saw fulfilled for my parents as they raised me and my 3 brothers here in Dublin, California. My dad was a cop, my mom worked a number of different jobs, and they believed that they worked hard enough I could be the first in the family to go to college. And that was achieved for us. But with my eyes open, going to college and law school and working as a prosecutor and serving as a city councilman in this community, I saw all the people who did not have that promise fulfilled. So I went to Congress. In this past midterm election, I would come home for town halls and meet with my constituents. And at almost every town hall, with hundreds of people filling up gymnasiums and churches, I was told that the most important thing I could do as their congressman was to reverse the course our country was taking, go out and find new friends, and reshape the Congress. So for 2 years, I went to 26 states, led an effort called Future 40 to find 40 candidates in their 40s and under who could flip 40 seats. 28 of them won. I also, after being so demoralized, just like so many of you, by mass shooting after mass shooting after mass shooting in America, was about to lose hope. And then Parkland happened. And the communities of Parkland converge with communities in Sandy Hook and cities where we never hear the names and never know the stories, like Chicago and Baltimore and Miami and Oakland. And they march from the town squares to the town halls to the ballot boxes. And they beat 18 NRA-endorsed members of Congress. We had momentum after the last midterm election. And I believe the best way to seize that momentum with a young, diverse caucus for the Democratic Party and 18 fewer NRA members in Congress was to have a leader in the White House who could seize that momentum. That's why I chose to run for president. I was excited by what I saw across the country over the last 3 months, building on the work we did for the midterms in the last 2 years. I told my wife and our staff and my constituents and our supporters we are only running for one reason: to win and to make a difference. Not a vanity project, not to write a book, not to make this about anything other than the people who really, really needed that promise to be fulfilled for them. So being honest with ourselves, we had to look at how much money we were raising, where we were in the polls. And to prove we were serious, we qualified for the debates immediately, made the first cut, got on the debate stage, had a campaign operation with staff in Iowa, New Hampshire, South Carolina, New York, Washington, and California, and moved the needle on the debate stage on an issue that I was very passionate about, believing that every candidate should pledge that they would support a ban and buyback of the 15 million assault weapons in our country. And on the one opportunity I had to do that, our 3 frontrunners that were on the stage with me, Vice President Biden, Senator Sanders, and Senator Harris, all 3 said that they supported that. So we've achieved that. Communities across America who have been stricken by mass shootings now know that at least 3 of the frontrunners support this idea that these weapons of war do not belong in our community. But we have to be honest about our own candidacy's viability. You know, an American author, Louis L'Amour, wrote in The Lonely Mountain, "There will be a time when you believe everything is over. That will be the beginning." Today ends our presidential campaign, but it is the beginning of an opportunity in Congress with a new perspective shaped by the lives that have touched mine and our campaign throughout these last 3 months, to bring that promise of America to all Americans, to believe that it will be the next generation whose leadership will solve climate chaos, bring cures in our lifetime for healthcare, address the student loan debt crisis, and make sure that we say enough is enough we don't have to live this way anymore, and that we love our children more than we love our guns. I'm fired up to do that work that I've already been doing in the Congress. To go back to Washington on the House Judiciary Committee, the House Intelligence Committee, and as the chair of the Steering and Policy Committee to work on these issues, but to carry the stories of so many people I've met across America. I also want to thank my wife, Brittany, our kids, Nelson and Cricket. They were a lot of fun on the road. My wife was a hell of a surrogate for us. She was a mom who had a full-time job and put everything into her husband's campaign. I also want to thank my parents, Eric and Vicki, and my brothers, Josh, Jacob, and Chase, as well as my staff, led by our campaign manager, Lisa Tucker, as well as our supporters, who made the small contributions, who knocked on the doors, made the text messages, believed in us every step along the way. Thank you. I want to thank the media, because I see the media everywhere we go across the country, carrying your materials and your cameras and lugging it through airports and trying to catch me and ask the tough questions that we expect in a democracy. You're not the enemy of the American people. You uphold the promise of our Constitution of free speech and a free press. But I want to thank, most importantly, my constituents. The only reason that a son of a cop who was the first in his family to go to college would believe that he could run for president and elevate the issue of gun violence is because I am around people who have this spirit of risk-taking and learning from their failures and turning them into successes. I grew up in the Tri-Valley, but it should be really called TRY Valley, because that defines who we are. We try, we fail, we try, we fail, we try with the next major tech company. That's just in our DNA here. And a little bit of that is in your congressman. So I have no regrets. I'm excited about what we've done. I think it's actually fitting that today, as we end this presidential campaign, over the last week I've been mentoring and helping a working 34-year-old mother of 2 kids in the South who is embarking today on what will be seen as a long-shot campaign for Congress in the South. But what I've really enjoyed the most about my work is working with and mentoring young people, just like I had leaders work with and mentor me. So campaigns will begin across America in the next few months to reshape the House, the Senate, city councils, and school boards. And I believe that if those campaigns are run on the issues of going big, being bold with the solutions, and doing good in the way that we treat each other, we will see that promise of America fulfilled for all Americans. And with that, I'd be happy to take any questions.